Okay, welcome everyone to CG Buildup, and today we're going to be talking about the float to integer node found in the utility nodes. Okay, this is one of the utility nodes that I'm going to be explaining. So let's start. So let's start by maybe typing it a simple number like 3.56, something like that. Now here I'm having two numbers. The value that you're seeing here at the very bottom is the one that comes from this node here, and the one at the top which you may already realize that it's an integer comes from this truncate value over here. So if I just rub it here, comes from this float to integer node that comes out from here. And simply what I'm going to be doing is explaining these properties here: the round, the floor, the ceiling, and the truncate. So I'm going to select round and let's start talking about it. Round is the one that is most of us are very common with. If the fractional part is less than 0.5, it's going to be the lowest integer possible for this value. For example, this value here is between 3 and is between 4. When this fractional part of this value, of this float value, okay, when this fractional part is greater or equal to 0.5, the integer chosen will be the integer greater than the float value that we're dealing with. Or sometimes also when the fractional value is less than 0.5, the integer value that will be chosen will be the one less than the float value, which will be equal to, which is 3. Very simple and very basic. That is something that we are all used to. That's the one that I was also used to, and that is the one that I came with. I learned from the very kindergarten. Maybe the ones that are so confusing to others, that was also confusing to me, is the floor, ceiling, and truncate. Let's talk about them next. So what does floor mean and what does ceiling mean? These are two sort of antagonistic ways of which the float to integer node does when dealing with this converting the float to an integer. So when it comes to floor, okay, let me type in another number like 6.12, like that, and this number is found between 6 and 7, right? These two integer values. The integer that will be chosen when set to floor is the one that is smaller than the float that we're dealing with. The one in this case is 6 and the one that is larger is 7. So, and if I sort of rub this actually and maybe type in a negative number like negative 9.12, like that, we can see negative 10 has been chosen because negative 9.12 is found between negative 9 and negative 10. Okay, and negative 10 on this hand is that negative 10 is smaller, okay, than this value negative 9.12. That's how the values in the negatives go, and that's how floor does. The integer smaller than the float that we are dealing with is the one that's going to be selected. And ceiling is completely different. See what happens when I change to ceiling. It becomes negative 9 because ceiling is opposite from the floor. The integer that is going to be chosen is the one that is greater than the float that we're dealing with. Okay, I can type in a number like positive 3.12. Okay, since this float number is between 3 and 4, the integer value that will be chosen when we connect ceiling is going to be 4, because 4 is greater than 3.14, and that is what ceiling does. Even when it's set to negative 9.34, okay, not negative 9, maybe negative 5.12, okay, something like this, the number chosen is negative 5 because this float value is between negative 5 and negative 6. and the float value, the integer value that is going to be chosen when we kept this float to ceiling is going to be the one larger than the float value, which is in this case, since we're dealing with negative, it's going to be -5, and that's why it's going to be chosen. Now we have discussed about the ceiling, the floor, and the round. So what about the truncate? Okay, so let's wrap this up and wrap this up and type in a number like 2.34, and we can see 2 has been chosen. Now 2.34 is between two numbers, 2 and 3. Okay, and the integer that is going to be chosen is the one closest to 0. Okay, and between 2 and 3, 2 is the one that is closest to 0. This sort of looks similar to floor. Okay, looks similar to floor when it comes to positive, and when you keep it to negative, like -2.34, you can see only in the negative has changed, but in the actual sense it's like let me just rub around this here a bit. So negative 2.34 is between -2 and -3, and the integer that's going to be chosen is the one closest to 0. In this case is 2, and this looks similar to ceiling because -2 is actually larger than -2, and simply like that. That's how the float to integer node works, and I hope this video was useful and very helpful to you who was trying to understand the float to integer. And I hope you'll be with me in another tutorial, and I'll be talking about the utility nodes. Thank you.